4 major unions just got a court order to stop their strike. This is Kenya News Update today. Coming up, you'll discover why Ghana's entire public university system is paralyzed, the 996 million Ghanaian Sadie pension scandal, and what this means for students across West Africa. Meet the Senior Staff Association. They've been fighting for their rights for years. On Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026, they walked out. And they took 3 other major unions with them: the Senior Staff Association, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, the Federation of University Senior Staff, and the Technical Universities Administrators. Together, they shut down campuses nationwide. Registration stopped. Lectures halted. Administrative services froze. But here's the twist. The government says they broke the law by striking while talks were still happening. And now, a high court has just sided with the government. This is the story of a 996 million Sadie dispute and a legal battle that could redefine labor rights in Ghana. The core of this fight is about money and broken promises. The unions are furious over 3 things. First, pension arrears. The government hasn't been paying their mandatory Tier 2 pension contributions for at least 5 months. That's money for their future just gone. Second, unpaid salary differences from a major university merger, the creation of the University of Media, Arts, and Communication. And third, the big one, a radical shift in how they get paid for working weekends. For years, staff got overtime pay, double time for weekends. But the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission unilaterally replaced that with a flat call-in allowance, just 10% of their basic salary. The unions say this is a direct breach of a signed 2021 agreement that protected their overtime rights. They call it a unilateral breach. The commission says, hold on, the rules changed back in 2010. This has been the policy, but the unions aren't buying it. They declared an indefinite strike. And then the National Labor Commission stepped in. They said the strike was illegal. Why? Because under Section 160 of the Labor Act, you can't strike while mediation is active. The NLC told them to call it off immediately. The unions refused, so the NLC went to court. And on Friday, February 13th, 2026, they got what they wanted: an interlocutory injunction from the High Court, a legal order forcing the 4 unions to suspend their strike right now. But here's what nobody's talking about. Just days before this court order, the government made a major move. Education Minister Haruna Idrisu revealed they had disbursed 396 million Sadies to clear part of the pension debt. And he said an additional 600 million Sadies was being processed. That's a total of nearly 996 million Sadies. A massive payment. So why are the unions still so angry? They cite bad faith. They say changing the overtime policy while talking about pensions shows the government isn't negotiating honestly. The court injunction is a decisive legal blow, but it might not be the end. The NLC's own statement is telling. They said, and I quote, "Until the strike is called off, the substantive issues cannot be heard." So the court has paused the protest, but it hasn't solved the problem. The 996 million Sadie pension payment is a start, but the fight over weekend pay and trust remains. For students across Ghana, this means uncertainty. Will campuses reopen smoothly? Will the academic calendar be salvaged? The court has ordered peace, but the underlying tension is still simmering. Some say the unions were right to fight for their agreed-upon rights. Others say they broke the law and disrupted education for thousands. The legal injunction is clear. The moral and financial dispute is not. Do you think the court was right to force the unions back to work, or should the strike have continued until all grievances were addressed? Drop your take in the comments. This has been Kenya News Update today. Subscribe for more breaking news from across Africa.